Today's video is sponsored by... Wait, what movie are we reviewing again? Oh.
Sweet devotion, it's not for me. Just give me
Why did you lie to me?
Do you want the truth now?
Yeah, today's video is sponsored by Confusion. Beau Is Afraid was directed by Ari Aster, the same director as Midsommar, and... Beau Is Afraid was directed by Ari Aster, the same director as Hereditary and Midsommar, both A24 films. And he brings us a new A24 film with Beau Is Afraid, which hit theaters this past weekend. Now, this is probably the most divisive movie of 2023 so far. No doubt about it. I mean, there are things in this movie that will have you shaking your head, or you'll just be bewildered, mind blown. It's a fever dream. It's insane. It is pure chaos, and I'm here to talk about as much of it as I can. This is a 3-hour-long movie, so if I miss stuff, don't worry, because, as I confirmed in a community post I did the other day, I will be having a second video up about Beau Is Afraid, with me trying to, as closely as I can, walk through the film with you and kind of dissect little things, tell you what the bigger picture of Beau Is Afraid is all about, because, I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna watch it again before I watch that video, or sorry, do the video, and I might still not have a clue. This movie leaves everything up to interpretation, because I'll start off with this. Beau is not a very reliable narrator. Joaquin Phoenix brings to life Beau, this pathetic guy that is just really brought down by being overprotected by his mom and being sheltered and really not having much of a life. Like the title suggests, he is afraid of everything. Social interaction, confronting his mother, I mean, the past, what happened with his father, these dreams that he's having, everything coming to a head in this insane movie. Ari Aster is probably one of the most demented movie directors I've ever had the pleasure of watching, work. Midsommar, insane. If you haven't seen Midsommar, wow, you need to go watch that, because that movie will blow you away by just the pure insanity and grotesqueness of it. Same with Hereditary. That movie is actually, it might even be gross. Somehow it might be the most disgusting movie he's done, which is saying something considering the stuff we've seen out of Midsommar and this movie. Although Midsommar definitely rivals some of that stuff. But anyway, what I'm saying is, what I'm getting at is, this movie review will definitely contain spoilers. I'll have a time code telling you when I enter spoilers. They probably won't be too far from now, because this movie has so much going on that really, if you go into it and try to explain this plot, you are going to spoil the whole thing. Because, let me just say, from what you get out of the trailers is not what you get in the film. There is similarities, but there's also a big twist thrown in there that they didn't include into the trailers, obviously, because it ends up being a large plot point in this movie. So, like I said, Beau is a very sheltered, pathetic guy. He lives in a terrible neighborhood, and he just has to get home to his mom. That's his mission. So, he runs into Nathan Lane's character. He has a wife and a daughter and this other guy that lives with them. I'll get into them in the spoiler section. You can't, literally anything you try to explain in this movie could pretty much be considered a spoiler, even though not everything goes exactly the way you think. It's not always going to go anywhere. There are little things in this movie that you think are setting up something bigger later on that it doesn't happen. And yes, during this 3-hour-long runtime, you're going to have a lot of moments that drag significantly slower than others. But Beau Is Afraid has so much chaotic energy and so many deep themes that at least I interpreted. Like I said, it's up to your own interpretation, but the themes that I got out of this and the message, I guess if you could say that this movie has a message, the overarching themes in this movie and the journey that our character goes on and just the little details within these little moments that happen that build to the climax and the end of the film, it really just provided for a really enjoyable experience, despite the fact that you have to kind of wait through the crawls and the slow moments and the dreamlike sequences and the absolute madness that is this movie. So I'm going to give Beau Is Afraid an 8 out of 10. I'm so baffled by this film, I can't even process words. An 8 out of 10 is what this film's getting. I'm going to do an A24 movie ranking sometime soon. I still want to get a few more in there. Joaquin Phoenix did amazing. Ari Aster is at his absolute weirdest here. I wouldn't say this is his best direction. So I definitely take a little bit of points off for that, because it's a very confusing movie. You're gonna have trouble keeping up. If you're an actual casual movie goer, okay, do not see the movie. It's not for you. I'm just saying that. I'm not trying to scare you away. You can absolutely challenge yourself if you want by watching the film, if you really love Ari Aster's previous work and are a Joaquin Phoenix fan. And if you're a fan of psychological movies, definitely check it out. But I gotta say, if you're just a casual moviegoer, you're saying, what's in theaters this weekend, you've already seen Evil Dead Rise, you're looking for a new release, this is not the one for you, I'm sorry. Go watch Scream 6, it just dropped on Paramount Plus and digital today. So, yeah, that's all advice I can give you. I will talk more in spoilers. Entering spoilers, Beau is afraid for good reason. There is a giant dick monster. A girl drinks paint. A dude with an there's people with AK-47s on the street outside of his apartment. And there's a murderer who is naked all the time, stabbing his victims. There are just junkies that run into his room when he loses his keys to lock his apartment. They run in there. They have a giant orgy. I'm sorry, I'm just dropping all of this on you. But, yeah, sorry. So, let me just try and hit the basics here. So, Beau finds out, actually, that his mom has died. A chandelier fell on her head, and now he has to get home. He gets hit by a vehicle. He gets hit by Grace. Her husband, Roger, tends to his wounds. They have a daughter named Tony, a dude named Jeeves, who served with their son who was killed in the war. So, this movie, I'm trying to figure out where I can even go from here. This movie throws tons of curveballs at you. The first one really being, this movie really, really loves dark Gen Z humor. Okay? And I'm not saying like Gen Z humor, like stuff that Gen Z would find amusing, because God knows what that would be. But it takes such a dark look at how Gen Z is with the social media and TikTok aspect. These two girls, they trick Beau into thinking they're taking him to his mom's house, and instead they just end up filming him smoking a cigarette, and it's like, what? There are so many things that will just baffle you with this movie that honestly I don't even know if I can do a spoiler section, because there's so much going on, but I'm trying my best here. So, long story short, Beau goes through all these different trials and tribulations. There's a bit in the forest where things get very weird. He has a dream sequence where he envisions himself as a hero, and then he finally ends up escaping that, getting home, and then a big moment happens for Beau where he has sex for the first time. Oh no. Parker Posey is in this film from a trailer, Tales of the Walking Dead. I am so thrown off by this movie. Parker Posey is in the film from Tales of the Walking Dead. She plays Elaine, Beau's childhood crush, and they hook up in his mother's bed on the day of her funeral. Okay. And then she basically dies while they're banging. Once again, I have no follow-up for that. It goes back to how his mom was talking about how he had a heart murmur and he died literally as he was conceiving Beau. What am I gonna do with this review? I'm sorry, guys, but like I said, I'm doing a separate video on it. I really can get more in depth in there, but now I'm just like rambling. Okay, so turns out Mom's been pulling a whole test on Beau. She's not dead. She hired Roger and Grace and possibly Elaine if you interpret that from the film. Sorry. I personally interpreted that from the film. I got that vibe. So that happens, and then, she reveals all these different things about Beau's past, how these dreams that he's having about a twin brother are actually real, and their father's in there, and he's a giant dick monster with tentacles that are also dicks. Yeah. Yeah. That's about what my face was when I watched the film. Beau is incredibly freaked out by this, and then he finds out that his therapist has been telling his mom all of their talks. He's recorded all of them and played them back for her, and it's Beau using her as a scapegoat for all of these things going wrong in his life, when really he has done some monstrous things as well. This is a movie where you can't really root for Beau or the mom or anybody in this movie. You can't root for anyone. Everyone is a complete asshole in this movie. And I'm sorry to be blunt like that, but that is true. 100% true. So, Beau is revealed to be doing some pretty bad things when he was younger. He pretended like he was gone so his mom would freak out when really he was watching her freak out the whole time, getting amusement out of it. He brought his friends over, had them smell her drawers. Getting flashbacks of the Panty Raid episode from SpongeBob. And then, basically, Beau has enough. He thinks he killed her because he strangles her, and then she falls out like she's dead. And he runs away, and then gets in a boat, and then all of a sudden he's in this giant stadium where he's on trial. They find him guilty for everything, and he's essentially sentenced to death because this boat that he's on blows up, and he dies, and he's never seen again. And that's how the movie ends. It literally, the last shot of the movie goes on for a whole 5 minutes almost of just the boat sitting there flipped upside down with no sign of Beau. So Beau is dead. Beau is afraid, like I said, for very good reason. Yeah, that's all for the review. I'm sorry to just run through it at brisk pace like that, but honestly, the movie has just so many insane moments. It's better off to give it its own video. Like I said, the movie has insane moments. Great visuals, though. The animation in the middle portion where he's dreaming and everything, fantastic. Joaquin Phoenix, Ari Aster did great. Everyone else supporting cast did great as well. There's some trippy sequences in this. They did a great job of really immersing you in this dude's mind. It's like you're watching a guy's life play out, only there's this one specific part of his life that's being stretched out, and you explore his mommy issues, his anxiety, the guilt, the self-loathing, and just the selfishness. And yeah, I'll get into more of that in that separate video, but you saw my ranking, you saw my rating for Beau Is Afraid. I'm really making a mess of this review. Yeah. Thanks for watching. I have no idea how to form words anymore. That was Beau Is Afraid. Take care, guys. Leave a like on the video. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe. Goodbye. Entering spoilers. There's a giant dick monster. Where am I gonna go from there? I don't even know. Entering spoilers. I can't even start again. Entering spoilers. I can't even do it.